All right. So this week, top five. Here we go. So our
Cool.
top five this week is going to be the top five, in our opinion, best playoff runs of all time. So playoff run is a team that just has a absolutely, whether it's magical, if it's a Cinderella team or a team that just purely just dominates and goes in all the way and wins the Stanley Cup. So, yeah, so we're looking at our top five greatest Stanley Cup runs of all time. Everybody ready?
Yep.
Yep, got my list.
Do it.
Got your lists? Okay. So,
I had a hard time putting it in a particular order though, between
here's
one
the
through
thing.
five.
Yeah, here's the thing with I've got, like top three is like really, really like my number one is always going to be my number one. And again, it involves a goalie that just carried a team. So, and it's the story behind that team is absolutely it's just great the way they got into the play, everything. So, I think Steve, it's kind of like it's just no particular order, really. The all
Yeah.
five of these were absolutely incredible runs because, again, folks, to win this tournament, it's 2 months long. You're playing every other day, travel, everything. You're just going for 2 months, and it's so intense. It's the crowds are louder, the players are hitting harder. It's such a incredible feat, really, for these guys, and it's it's just everything about it. If you go 4 rounds, 7 games, that's 28 games. That's a quarter of another season, more than an 82 game season. You're adding 28 games, and you're already maybe a little beat up, dealing with some stuff, little injuries here or there. You haven't even talked to the medical team yet, and so it's like this is such a big accomplishment. So it's a big deal when you really dominate this tournament. It just says something different. It says that it's just special. So enough of me. Let's go. Steve, hot dog man, Wood, my man. What's your number five? I can
All right.
see
My
you
first one
rolling your
is
eyes at me.
I'm gonna roll my eyes every time you say that. Is the '03 New Jersey Devils.
The '03
Um,
Devils. Okay.
the '03 Devils, and I'm, Martin is in a lot of at least in a couple of them. The goalie Martin Brodeur,
Martin Brodeur.
and he's the
Martin.
main reason for that. Martin,
I
hey,
No,
Yeah.
I'm not. I'm not. I'm laughing.
so that would be my number five.
Number five. Okay. '03 Devils. I mean, that's a great one, man. I like it. Brandon, number five.
My number five didn't win the cup, but they had a crazy run that nobody
Okay.
expected to have happen, and that was the '91 Minnesota North Stars. The
Ooh,
first round, they beat the best team in the league in the Blackhawks. Second round, they beat the second best team in the league in the Blues.
Mhm.
Third round, they defeated the defending champions in the Oilers.
Yeah.
Would just end up losing to the Penguins in the end, who won their first championship that year.
Yeah, 91.
Hmm.
Okay. I got you. That was that was Lemieux and Yager.
Yeah, and the North
Those
Stars
first
were
two.
considered
Yeah.
the worst team in the playoffs.
Yeah.
rough.
That's again, they made it all the way to the end, just didn't finish the job there at the end, but it's yeah, again, that's a great number five because that is what this is about. That's the whole point of these lists is that's a team that probably shouldn't have even been in the playoffs. Great number five. Nick, number five, Mr. Brown.
Number five. I
Yeah.
basically have two types of teams on my list: teams that had a crazy, difficult journey and made it to the cup, or teams that dominated the entire time. I'm
Okay.
going to start off with number five with the 2023 Florida Panthers. Um, from a wild card team to reaching the Stanley Cup Finals, they were a wild card two, came in with a 42 win, 32 loss, 8 tie record. Overtime, some star power with like Matthew Kachuk.
Okay.
Uh, and multiple overtime thrillers, marathon games, and
Yeah.
and then they lost to the Cup to I forget who.
Okay.
Oh, and then lost to Vegas in the finals for 5 games.
Very good. All right, number 5. My number 5 is going to be the 2019 St. Louis Blues. So the St. Louis Blues were in dead last in January that year. Dead last in the NHL, guys. Made it into the playoffs. Went on a run and they went on a run. I'm trying to find like how many games they did something. I remember these guys won like 27 of 30.
Is this the
So
29
they did
Blues?
that, and then
2019.
that was Jordan Binnington's rookie year, who just proved to be absolutely unstoppable. Nobody even really knew or understood who Jordan Binnington was. He is a true goalie he's just a quirk. He's absolutely ridiculous. But anyway, so
They did a coaching change too, didn't they?
I know they beat San Jose in the conference final, and then they went on to beat the Boston Bruins in 7 games. The game 7 of that year was absolutely incredible. So that is my number 5. Steve, number 4.
That was my number 4 as well. The
Okay.
2019 St. Louis Blues.
Perfect. Yeah, a pretty incredible run. Again, this goes back to how they got into that playoff.
That was an underdog success story.
They honestly, and they probably could have been higher, honestly, at even a 3. So good number 4. We'll just piggyback right off of that. Go to Brandon. Brandon, number 4.
My number 4 is the 19 St. Louis Blues. Like,
What's that?
My number 4 was 2019 St. Louis Blues.
Awesome.
Like
All right.
just, like I said earlier, just love it when those games when it goes to game 7 in the final.
Sure.
And it was
Sure.
just an amazing
Yeah.
story, and love Bennington's performance.
Awesome. Love it. Nick, number 4, buddy.
You're not going to believe it, but it's the 2019 St. Louis Blues.
Perfect. Okay.
Because I made it for the same reason you said, that they barely made the playoffs, won the Cup,
Yep.
last place.
Yeah.
The one thing I did find was that this was the longest playoff run for a champion at the time at 26 games.
Yeah. The conference finals, they were actually down 2-1 to San Jose. And the way that game ended, so let's talk it was such a blatant, it was an obvious hand pass. Even San Jose sat there like, well, it's not a goal. It was an overtime. San Jose and they were buzzing. They probably would have won that game, but it was just like the player, I want to say Timo Meyer. Anyway, it doesn't matter. Like hit the puck and a player just buried it in an open net and they kind of just sat there. I remember Erik Karlsson, the look on his face was like, we're not really doing this, are we? So they lose that game. They're freaking pissed. It's in St. Louis. They're throwing their sticks up against like it was bad. And they should have never been a goal. This was honestly one of the reasons they brought in replay got extended because of that goal. And it was like, dude, even San Jose's sitting there like, this isn't right. So they went on, they won the last 3 games, went on to the Stanley Cup, and just again, it was a tough one. So anyway, so St. Louis Blues 2019, absolutely stellar, guys. Hats off to you. My number 4 is the 1987 Edmonton Oilers. Okay. This pick was just because of the dominance of this. They made teams look silly. I've got the thing. It was the widely considered the best record in NHL playoff history. Gretzky and the Oilers steamrolled their way to a 16-2 postseason record. 16-2, like just bullied their way through it. And again, it was another Stanley Cup for them at the time. They owned the NHL back then. Mark Messier and Marty McSorley was part of that team, and Gretzky, of course. But anyway, that's my number 4 is the 1987 Edmonton Oilers. Steve Wood, what is your number 3?
Number 3 is the 1993 Montreal Canadiens. They had 10 overtime wins.
Okay.
They were actually down. So Oh, I had to look this one up because when I was
If you
reading,
hand it
because
to
I
me, I'll
actually
do it.
wasn't watching hockey then.
Yeah. What year was it again?
93. So they were
Okay.
down
Yep.
were down 2 games in the first round. They came back and won. Then they only lost 1 game all the way to the end of the cup.
Yeah, I remember they beat the Kings that year.
Yeah, let's see. It was the Quebec, Buffalo,
Mhm.
New York Islanders, and then the Kings. Sorry,
Yeah, the Kings
I
in
was reading
5.
something else.
Yep. Yeah, Patrick Waugh was the goalie that year, and just that was I remember. Yep. Yeah, good one. All right, very very good. Brandon, number 3.
My number three is the 2012 LA Kings, who
Okay.
were the number eighth seed, first eighth seed to win it, and just
hmm
off of the back of Jonathan Quick, nobody could get anything past him.
Right. Yep. All right. Very good, Nick. 3.
2012 Los Angeles Kings, because they were the first team to go from an 8th seed to win the Stanley Cup.
Okay. Yeah. Um. Sorry, I lost. Oh my God, what is going on here? I lost. Sorry, I lost my list. And I had some some notes on it, but anyway, okay. So my number 3 is actually the 1991 Pittsburgh Penguins. I put this on here because of the dominance of Mario Lemieux. Obviously they won. He carried that team. So I want to bring up some stats. This is one of the most dominant postseasons of all time. This is where he got the name Super Mario. Had
Mm.
44 points, 28 assists, and 16 goals in 23 games en route to their first Stanley Cup championship. So that's my number 3. Steve, number 2.
My number 2 is the '94 Rangers.
94 Rangers.
Them ending their decades long drought of.
Decade. It was like what, 40 something years, I believe, right?
I have it listed as 54-year drought.
54 years. Sorry. Okay. Yeah. Yeah, that I remember that that was against Pavel Bure, the Russian Rocket, and the Vancouver Canucks. That was a great I remember that playoffs in general. That was a really, really great just playoff run in general. So
Another great game 7.
And what was the other one? Brandon, too, was the game 6 against New Jersey, and it was like Mark Messier literally, I think, if I remember correctly, he called it.
Yeah.
He was like, "We'll be back in New York."
He got a
And
hat
then
trick too.
He won. Yeah, it was a hat trick, and he finished it in overtime to win it. Yep.
Yeah.
It absolutely just, I mean, truly, truly, just absolutely incredible. So, yeah, that's a great number 2. Brandon, what is your number 2?
My number 2 is in honor of someone who just recently passed away, Claude Lemieux, going with the 95 New Jersey Devils, who beat the favored Red Wings, and Claude Lemieux took home the Conn Smythe Trophy.
He
So
was a stud.
I forgot to bring up that he passed at 60 years old. Thank you for bringing that up, Brandon. I apologize, but yeah, Claude Lemieux did pass away
Today.
Just a great, great hockey player, and that was those teams in the early 2000s. That rivalry was absolutely fantastic. So that's a great number 2, Brandon. Yeah, I really, really, really like it. So awesome, Nick, Nick, number 2. Sorry.
Brandon, your 80s Oilers team, what year did you do?
87.
I had the 1988 Oilers as the 16-2. And in 1987, when they also won, they were 16-5.
I'm reading it right here. One of the most dominant 1987 Edmonton Oilers, often considered the peak of the Oilers dynasty. The 1987
And that's
team
my answer.
Okay.
My answer
Yeah.
is the 87 because I put down 88 and I'm still looking at answers here that say 88. Whatever. Your
Oh,
answer.
Okay. Well, either way, yeah, that's the
The
team you're
16
talking
and 2
about.
Oilers of the
Yeah.
late 80s are my number 2
Yeah,
answer.
and honestly, it's just such a great. I've got it back up now because I have my list. It was going all peek it here. Yeah, he had 43 points. Gretzky did. One less than Lemieux, but it's just like it shows the dominance that they had. The Oilers were a wagon back then, dude. Nobody
Oh my
could beat
God.
them. And what's crazy is before the Oilers, it was the Islanders who won 4 straight. So for like a period of like 9 seasons, it was just the
One-sided.
Islanders and the Oilers, except for one team. I can't remember who won that, but anyway, yeah. So that's great. Again, my number 2 was actually Brandon said it was the 1993 Montreal Canadiens, and that was just such a dominant run. It was, again, the way that they, kind of just took over that playoff run. So that was my number 2. Let's get into number 1. Steve, what do you got, buddy?
My number 1 was already said. It was the 2012 LA Kings.
Good enough. Yeah, we'll get into that run now here in a minute. Brandon, what's your number 1?
My number 1 is the Edmonton Oilers, 87. I mean,
Okay.
just dominance, and they
Just the
swept.
80s.
They
Sure.
swept the Bruins
Late
in the
80s,
finals,
exactly.
who were also an amazing team that year.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Boston had some great teams back then. So yeah, absolutely.
I had the 90 of the 84 season as my number 6. Kind of as just because that was the first year that they actually started their
fair
run.
enough. Fair enough. Right on. Nick, number 1. What do you got?
I'm glad no one's actually said this one yet. My number 1 is the last and one of only 2 teams to win the cup with a perfect postseason record. The 1952 Detroit Red Wings, who went 8-0 because there was only 2 rounds.
8. No, that's why it's not on anybody's list. It wasn't really difficult back then. So, all right, fair enough. And it was actually 2 teams. It was 1952 Red Wings and the 1960 Montreal Canadiens that did it.
So what's your number 1?
My number 1 is going to be the 2012 LA Kings. Here's why.
Okay.
Number 1, they didn't get into the playoffs. They only got into the playoffs that year because 2 teams lost on the last day. They were essentially eliminated. All that had to happen was a team had to win a game. Both those teams, I'm trying to remember who lost that day. They they had players all of a sudden that were out and they're trying to get into the playoffs. I remember thinking, like, what are they doing? So anyway, 2 teams lose. The Kings find a way to win. They were not a great team that year. They go and that's how they get into the playoffs. Okay. Now let's talk about their run and who they beat. First round, they beat the President's Trophy winner. Okay. They sweep them. Then they go and play the number 2 seed, beat them in 5. Then they go and play the number 3 seed, sweep them. And then they go into the Stanley Cup final facing Martin Brodeur, and was aging at that point, and the New Jersey Devils, and beat them in 6. Jonathan Quick, was just, again, this is what we talk about. This is why number 2 was goaltenders will carry a team through the playoffs. We're watching it happen with Montreal right now. Like, we're watching it in real time with Dobris. And again, Carolina is so good that we're kind of overshadowing the fact that Freddie Anderson did not have a great season at all, guys. And
Not at all.
Like now he's just putting up ridiculous numbers, and there's arguments, and people will say, and just, the excuse clowns will come out and be like, well, he's only facing this many shots. And it's like, sometimes, yeah, because his team is that good defensively. But if you look at like when Montreal got a little bit of a push last night, dude, Freddie Anderson was lights out, dude. Everything, he was great. Made some phenomenal saves. Yes, game 1 was not his best. day, but he's got 4 shutouts now. And what's he like, honestly, what's he at? But that's why the 2012 Kings, man, was just another level of ridiculous. It's like Brandon had said with, being an 8 seed and just rolling through. Brandon, you said that was the first 8 seed as well, right? Correct?
Yeah. First
Yeah.
8 seed to win it.
So we're talking about how many years of hockey where an 8 seed didn't do it. I mean, you've had some great runs by teams that were, look at the 94 San Jose Sharks. They were, a new team, and then they went and beat the Red Wings, who won the President's Trophy that year in 7 games. What a great game 7 that was. I'm just staring into Nick Brown's soul right now. So they beat this is the only reason I'm bringing this one up too. They beat the President's Trophy winning Red Wings in 7. Then they go into the next round, and Ulf Dahlin hit the post in game 6 in overtime, and that would have sent the Sharks past the Maple Leafs, but they lost in the second round. But it's like, you just look at, it's hard when you're an 8 seed, man.
It's a rough.
You're
rough
never
path.
gonna have home ice advantage. You got to win on the road, and great teams win on the road. Look at Carolina right now. Also, is undefeated on the road.
Yep.
So, and that's what the Kings did. They won everywhere. They got hot right when they needed to, and Jonathan Quick carried them. It was amazing. Nobody talks about the 2010 Blackhawks and the run that Antti Niemi had. It was crazy. So, and that was a young team then in 2010. And so that was an absolutely just ridiculously great run. So it's like we see it a lot. Again, Brandon brought it up with the goalies and being a number 8 seed. It's phenomenal. So